Prince Edward Island, to attract new people to this area. We need to create clusters and have more nationalities come to our region and come to Prince Edward Island. But I think part of the problem that we've seen over the last number of years has been a gouging in terms of taxes in Prince Edward Island. That's why we've called for a freeze in property assessments in Prince Edward Island. You know, we had a 2% economic growth last year, but we had the highest increase in property taxes in the country. Our income tax system was separated from the federal system back in 2001, and our basic personal exemptions have not kept up with the cost of living, and we have some of the highest gas taxes in the country here. So I think we have to make it more attractive for people to move here.
You have talked about tax changes. This man to your right says that Prince Edward Island can't afford your tax changes and your 119 promises, which he pegs at $109 million. Can Prince Edward Island's people be sure that they can afford the Robert Giz solution to this?
Very affordable. We're not looking at going out and building golf courses or loaning out $31 million. Last year alone, revenues in Prince Edward Island grew by $120 million. There was an extra $40 million alone in new taxes that came in last year, and an extra $60 million that came in from the federal government. Within that framework, we have a lot of flexibility in the system, and we want to do more.
I'd have to say that some of the comments from the opposition leader are really misleading. He said we have gouged islanders in terms of property assessments. In fact, what we did in 2003 was we put a cap of the consumer price index on increases on property taxes. Assessments can go up, but the property tax doesn't go up accordingly. The reason we've had growth in Prince Edward Island is because we're getting a lot of new housing construction and a lot of new business starts. That's where the property tax growth has come from. It's not by increases that we've charged against Prince Edward Island. They're also misleading islanders in terms of increases in personal income tax. We, in fact, have had 4 personal income tax cuts. The average islander pays less tax today than in 1997. The reason that's growing, more people working year-round. So you can't mislead people continually and expect them to vote for it.
You just need to talk to islanders out there. Anyone who opens up their property tax bills sees the assessments growing. We had the highest property tax increases in the country, yet our growth was not the largest in the country.
But have assessments gone up?
Yes, assessments are on the rise.
But taxes didn't go up with assessments because we tied it to consumer price index. Of course I'm right.
Your property assessments are going up. Some see it going up by $10,000 or $20,000 a year. And how can that be happening when we have the lowest economic growth in the country?
Look, I live in rural PEI. I have little services. I've got my own septic, my own well. I live on a dirt road, and my taxes are going through the roof. I mean,
how are your taxes, Mr. Consul?
Taxes are high.
The taxes have been high. I'm a renter here in the city of Charlottetown, so I don't pay directly into my taxes. But we do have a problem with housing here in the city. But one thing that's being missed out of this with the population is we don't have a real grasp on those numbers, because so many people are keeping they're still counted here in PEI, but they've left their families to work in Alberta for most of the year. They're not in their communities, and that's because the wages here in the province are too low, and that's because many of the young people entering the workforce are burdened by a high student debt, and we're the party that are talking about relieving that by rolling back
What of that, Premier Binns?
Well, I think what people have to understand in terms of assessments rising is that that does not affect the provincial taxes paid on their own home. However, we did not tie the hands of municipalities. Municipalities can still use the assessments to assess their tax rates. So municipal taxes have gone up. Cities, towns, villages, communities have gone up. Ours have not. They've been tied to the consumer price index. And to say anything else is an outright lie.
How does your property tax bill today compare to what it was 4 years ago?
On my home, on my residential home, it cannot have gone up more than the consumer price index, an average of 2.7% over the last 5 years.
Mr. Giz?
You just have to ask islanders. My candidates are out on the door. They see these property
assessments. What about your property tax?
Misleading islanders about the tax, Mr. Giz.
Excuse me, Mr. Binns, but unfortunately, if you get out and talk to islanders, you will hear them say that their property assessments are going through the roof.
You're
we just heard
hearing
Ms.
your own
Labchuk.
spin, which is absolutely
we just heard Ms. Labchuk say how her property assessments are going through the roof in her taxes. And last year alone, Prince Edward Island had the largest increase in property taxes in the country. Yet we did not have near the largest economic growth. That's not true.
But beyond property taxes, in terms of attracting people to Prince Edward Island, we have a major image problem. We have an image as a toxic island. The Globe and Mail ran a story not too long ago, pesticides are killing our children, quoting an island doctor. And that's not a very good recruitment message for attracting people to the island. I have personally had phone calls from people as an activist, environmental activist, inquiring about the issue of pesticides and PEI, and they're saying, I've got a small business, but
Well, let me
I
ask
don't
you
think
all
I'm going to
four.
come with my kids here.
Specifically and quickly, what is the specific solution to the problem of the nitrates in the drinking water on this island? Ms. Labchuk?
It's more than nitrates. The bigger problem is pesticides in the air.
All right.
We've got a cocktail of pesticides in our air as measured by
But the solution
Environment
to that is
Canada.
what?
The solution is to get rid of the nitrates and the pesticides by moving to a 100% organic province, which would be an amazing marketing tool. It would draw young people here to farm. We would have specialty products. It would stimulate the
Are
economy.
you prepared to go there, Mr. Constable?
In the long run, our party has always been behind organic and GMO-free Prince Edward Island. However, it's going to take us time, and we have a path in our platform to get there in the coming years.
Mr. Gibbs?
Agriculture is still our largest industry in Prince Edward Island. We have to do everything we can to promote it, but at the same time we have to also promote more environmentally friendly practices to get the nitrate level under control, and I believe we can do that.
Mr. Binns?
Well, we've actually been environmental leaders in the country, Steve. When we formed the government, we had community dump sites all across PEI, putting everything in the ground. There was a lot of leachate from that. There were nitrates or other chemicals that were going into our groundwater. We closed all of those dumps to start to address this
And now
problem.
nobody knows
We
where
used to
those
take
dumps are. They're unmarked. You could buy a property next to that
We used
house
to-
and be drinking toxic water because the dumps are scattered
Is this true?
all over the province. They're unmarked.
Is
Real
this true?
estate agents
Premier
don't know where
Binns,
they
is this
are.
true? Unmarked
We've
dumps?
taken the steps. We know where the dumps are, and eventually we'd like to
Nobody
clean those
else
up.
does.
But we're now composting all our materials on PEI. We have the best waste management program in the country. You know, we've taken things like sewage sludge that used to be applied on the land on high concentrations. We're treating all of that today in order to relieve this thing. It's not just an agricultural problem. But let me tell you what we've done for agriculture. We have 1,200 farms today that have environmental farm plans. They manage the nutrients they apply so that we're not continuing to compound this problem. Agriculture has been responsible. They've worked with government.
It's getting worse.
I have to
It's
break in
getting
because
worse every day.
we've expired the clock on this. We're going to give each of you a few seconds to say whatever's on your mind, Islanders, when we come back right after the break. Thank you for a lively round there. Very good. We're going to conclude this roundtable discussion here in Charlottetown tonight by giving each of the leaders about 30 seconds to say whatever is on their minds to the people of Prince Edward Island. And the speaking order was determined by a draw, and we begin with the Conservative leader, Mr. Binns.
Well, thank you, Steve. I think Islanders have to be wary of a party that promises over $100 million worth of promises. They have to have a way to pay for that. They haven't explained how they're going to do it. But I really think that we live in the world's greatest island, Prince Edward Island. I think we've presented a visionary and balanced approach to future growth and prosperity. It's a great place, and I would look forward to leading. I'd be honored and humbled to do that in the next 4 years.
Leader of the Progressive Conservatives, Mr. Binns, thank you very much. Our second speaker, the leader of the Prince Edward Island Green Party, Sharon Labchuk.
Thank you very much. The Green Party is polling 10% in Prince County, and there's a very good reason for that. Prince County has high rates of cancer, high rates of groundwater pollution, and nitrate pollution and pesticides in the air. They feel abandoned. The Green Party is the only party that is looking out for the interests of Islanders who are concerned about these very serious environmental problems, and we are not putting industry ahead of people's health.
Thank you very much, Ms. Labchuk. By draw, Mr. Constable, Dean Constable of the NDP, is our third speaker.
If we want to change, and we need a change, then we need to change the type of people we elect to our legislature. Island New Democrats have been that voice for Islanders. We've put the issues that face Islanders the most concerned about at the forefront of this election. We'll continue to do that in the legislature and really make sure that action happens for Islanders in this province, and that there's some real social justice, that we really take care of our environmental issues and look out for our education in the province.
Mr. Constable, thank you. Fourth and finally, the leader of the Liberal Party, Mr. Robert Gibbs. Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Steve. This election is about charting a new course for Islanders, turning away from the past of where we had politics put ahead of good government. We need to get away from firing 800 people. We need to get away from investing in golf courses. We need to get away from putting out secret loans to companies before an election. We need to start investing in healthcare, in education, making sure that we're taking care of our seniors, and making sure that we have a tax system that can be reflective of being competitive with anywhere else in the country. Thank you very much.
Mr. Giz, thank you, and indeed thank you to all four of you for joining us here tonight. This is a format that we have found works very well, and that it gives you each an opportunity to speak one with the other, and of course to the people here on Prince Edward Island who will, without much doubt, get out in record numbers on Monday to exercise their franchise, as they always admirably do. And we thank you all. We will take